The Hornets hit the bye week with a much-needed win. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Muenster Football Show, brought to you by the Muenster Booster Club and Romer's Restaurant right there in Muenster, as the Hornets bounce back from that tough loss against Pottsboro 2 weeks ago to beat De Leon 50-21 in a game that was absolutely dominated in the first half. Got a little ugly in the second half, but you know, when you're up 43-6, that kind of thing's going to happen. But anyway, they go to 3-2 on the week or on the year. They hit the bye week this week. And as always, we'll be talking to the head coach about that win, about the bye week, and just kind of setting up the second half of this season. And that's right, folks. We're already in the second half of the 2024 season. As, you know, Muenster on the year, they have 5 more regular season games. They all count going forward. And it's going to be an interesting district. As Coach Carney and I were talking before we recorded, I always record the coaches show before I do the wraparounds. This is the toughest district in Division II. I know when we did the show for toughest districts in 2A for sideline to sideline, we had March District. And March District is still tough. But as the season has bore out, that district is more tough because of the depth, just so many solid teams in the district. But like Bremont's been okay. Chilton's been okay. Mart has looked good since losing to Whitney really bad to begin the year, but they haven't quite looked like the Mart Panthers that we're used to. Now, we all know they're going to get there. But for 8-2A Division II, man, when you look at this across the boards, I mean, even Santo, they're 3-2. Lindsay's 4-1. Era's 3-2. Collinsville, of course, is 5-0, and then Muenster, of course, is 3-2. And so it's going to be a real fun district schedule this year. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises in 8-2A Division II play. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is the coach of the Muenster Hornets, Coach Brady Carney, right here on the Muenster Football Show on L4 Media. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO guardplus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, you know that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Terry Bennett back here on the Muenster Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And Coach, congratulations, big win last week, 50-21. What were your thoughts on it?
Man, we played really well the first half. You know, it was 43-6 at half, and I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a great game. Watching De Leon play Stanford and Holly, De Leon had their chances against Stanford in the first half. They got down to the inside the 20 2 or 3 times and couldn't get it in the end zone. And they had their chances and played with them. So, you know, the Holly game, they had way too many turnovers. So Holly was able to open it up and do some things. But watching those 2 games, I thought that it would be a really good game for us. And I'm not saying it wasn't, but we came out and played really well the first half, went into half 43-6, and obviously came out and and didn't perform real well in the second half, had way too many penalties, and just, never could get in a groove. I think that happens with teams. I think you see it in the NFL, college, whatever. You get a big lead at half, and then you settle in too much and get a little complacent at times, and I thought that's what we did. But overall, it was a good night for us against what I still think is a good football team, and I thought we performed well.
Well, I was going to say, offensively, we've talked about it all year. Y'all been hitting that 500 yards total offense. Y'all go over that, 300 through the air, almost 300 on the ground. This offense is really starting to get into gear right when district play is about to start.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what we talk about is we feel like we're putting up offensive numbers against good teams. It's not like the teams we're playing aren't very competitive teams. We're playing good football teams and still putting up good yardage on offense, and that's something we haven't done real well the past few years. But we've been able to run the ball on bigger fronts, and we've been able to throw the ball whenever they stop the run. That's what we did the other night. They were rolling the safety down, stacking the box a little bit to stop the run, which on film, that's probably what you need to do. But we were able to take advantage through the air when they lined up like that. So, yeah, we've been able to pretty balanced. We don't, we're going to run the ball 60 to 70% and throw it 40, but our opportunities to throw, we've been taking advantage of. And when you look at the stats, I think we've got 1,300 yard rushing, 1,100 passing. So we're pretty balanced, So watching us on film, I'm sure there's a lot of things you got to do to defend both aspects of the run pass, and as long as we can keep doing that, we're a tough team on offense.
Well, and we didn't have a show last week, and we didn't get a chance to talk the Pottsboro game, but same thing against Pottsboro, a very good team. And I know maybe passing, the efficiency wasn't there, but you still had the touchdowns and you still had the yards on the ground. So as you pointed out, you're not just doing this against bad teams, you're actually doing this against pretty solid defenses.
Yeah, you have a lot bigger fronts. That's the main thing. We haven't been able to run the ball on fronts that were bigger than us in a while, and we've been able to do that. Holiday had a big front. Windthorst has a big front. Pottsboro's huge up front. De Leon had some good-sized kids too, man, and we were still able to move the football. So that's the most positive thing for us.
Now, defensively, it's kind of the same thing. Y'all have been playing such really good offenses. I think it kind of skews to make it where you go, oh, well, their defense isn't quite as good. But I contend that when you start playing teams on your level, you're going to see your defensive side come out.
Yeah, I screwed up on the scheduling, man, as far as it's not just the teams we're playing, but we've played three teams, almost four teams. So Windthorst, Pottsboro, and De Leon all through the football at least close to 40 times, and Holiday didn't because they hit big plays and were able to execute those big plays, explosive plays. So they didn't have to throw it that much. But all we've been seeing are teams that want to chunk it around, and now we're getting in the district, and all Lindsay wants to do is run it at us, So I didn't do a very good job of getting a passing team and a running team, But, yeah, us having to defend the pass for 4 straight games it was tough because we saw some dudes, man. Holiday's got some guys out there. Windthorst has some guys. De Leon had 2 good receivers, and then Pottsboro has the number 2 kid that just ate us up that night. So, yeah, I thought we played way better on defense last week versus De Leon. When we got to play somebody our size and we matched up a little better speed-wise in the back end versus their receivers, I thought it really showed. We didn't give up our passing yards until late in the game when we started subbing. I thought our corners and safeties did a really good job the other night.
Well, let me ask you, as a coach, is it hard at times to keep your kids' confidence when they're giving up yards and points, but you're having to explain that, like, yes, but this is learning experiences, this is bigger teams, you're not going to see these type teams down the road?
Yeah, it can be frustrating. You do question some things here and there, but you just want to see on film, like if we were – if there was things we weren't doing right against Holiday, did we fix some of that against Windthorst, and did we continue to get better? And I think we did. Like Pottsboro, you look, they had to throw the ball 40 times, and they didn't have near as many explosive plays that Holiday did. So I felt like we were getting better and make them earn it a little bit. And then last week, I thought we took away all the explosive plays and the deep balls and did a really good job up front, still getting pressure. That's what our guys have been doing really well. And in the back end, we were able to hold up. But, yeah, it can get frustrating at times. But like you said, how many receivers are we going to see at our level that compare to number 2 from Holiday or number 2 from Pottsboro? and number 3 from Holiday. I don't know if we'll see just a ton of those kind of guys, So to get to defend those kind of athletes early, I think that can only make us better.
You hit the bye week. And what do y'all do as a team during bye week?
So what we did was Monday, we just lifted and watched film because I didn't bring them in Saturday. I gave them the day off on Saturday. So we watched film and lifted on Monday. And then yesterday morning we started at 6. This morning we started at 6, went till 7:30. Just trying to ease up on the team aspect as far as hitting each other, doing a lot of stuff against dummies and 7-on-7 and stuff where there's not a lot of contact. And then got some kids banged up, of course, in football. When you play football against good football teams, you're going to have some injuries, and luckily none of them are season-ending injuries. They're just, sprained ankles or sprained knees and quads that hurt or things like that. So nothing big, just trying to give them a break from the contact as much this week. And then tomorrow will be just like a Thursday walkthrough. We'll hit all our special teams and offense and defense. And then Friday we'll lift and get them out of here on Friday and get back after it on Monday.
It's funny what you talk about, more and more coaches do. And that's where I think the evolution of football, bye weeks back, like when I played in the early 90s, that usually meant more physical. You'd have live scrimmages and things like that. Now
Sure.
Coaches understand, hey, it's you want to hit, but there are only so many hits a body can take before they wear down in a season.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I've been coaching 25 years, and me 15 years ago compared to me nowadays is totally different. Because I was probably the same way when I got here. We were back just going full board during bye week and not taking any time off and not giving the kids a break from the contact. So yeah, I think like you said, the evolution of coaches in the game and just understanding maybe a little bit more what the body needs. You don't want to be soft by any means, but you do need to be smart about it. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do this week. And we are getting back to some basic stuff that, we've been defending the pass so much. We haven't been able to be in our base offense a ton because we're trying to adjust and stop the pass.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, we play Lindsay and they're going to run it 90% of the time. And now we got to get back in the box and stop the run. So we're going back to some basics with our D-line and our linebackers and how we CCR on the backside with our counters and cutbacks and reverses and how we take on counters and how we take on double teams up front. So, yeah, we're trying to get back to some basic stuff as well.
You're talking about taking some time off with the district, having a full bye this week. Gives you a little bit of a chance and the coaching staff to take a step back. Are you just going to kind of stay away from football this weekend, or are you the type that you're going to watch a ton of college and pro ball on this week off? How do you take the bye weekend?
Man, yeah, as far as Friday night goes, there's not really any close games for us to go watch, so more than likely it'll be my usual Saturday, Sunday, come up here and work a little bit. But then I always get home by noon on Saturday and turn on, Oklahoma State to watch Cody, who played for us a while back, Walter Scheid. He's still up there. Louisiana Tech, where Colton Deckard's playing, or, just watch college football. And then, of course, on Sunday, you got your fantasy leagues you got to keep up with, So you got to flip it on, make sure your guys are taking care of business. But, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at doing this weekend.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, I want to thank the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney, for joining us here. I also want to apologize for last week. Last week was a weird week. And if you've listened to this show, and this is our, I think, third year or fourth year. I think it's fourth year of doing this show. There's always a week where our sickness or just things happen and we have to bump a show or two. But last week was just really, really weird because I had to bump the Wednesday shows, and that's usually when I record Muenster, to Thursday because the business side of the job, I had to go do a couple meetings that couldn't be moved or anything. And yes, even though it's in football season, but these have to be done. And we've got some really good news that we'll be sharing later on in the year, at the end of the year, at the beginning of next year, about one of those meetings. And so that made me have to move everything to Thursday for the coaches show. So I was going to do 7 coaches shows on Thursday. And then I guess either I fell asleep with the fan on. I wasn't sick Thursday, but when I woke up, I still have my tonsils in. My tonsil was literally touching my my tongue, basically, whenever I would try to talk, and that would create the feeling that I was gagging and then I was going to throw up, and so I could not. I could not say a word Thursday. I was in complete silence all day Thursday vocally. I couldn't talk. Friday, even going to the football game that we went to for sideline to sideline, I was still kind of feeling that, but it kind of finally started going down Friday afternoon. But I do apologize for us missing a show, and I do appreciate the patience on that and can't wait to tell all the good news. The 2A show is up this week. On YouTube, just go to youtube.com/L4 at L4 Media Company. Now, the video quality is really bad this week. Again, another issue that has popped up. It amazes me that I do football for basically 24 weeks of the year. So basically half this year is all football. Like, I'm on the internet, I'm doing all these things, and I have the other half of the year where, hey, these are when those things need to happen and they can be fixed and have plenty of time. Unfortunately, I guess my router is going bad, so I've got a tech coming out later today and all that kind of fun stuff. But you can still hear the audio is perfectly fine. It's just the video's a little cruddy. But the audio version of the 2A show will be up tomorrow. I always put up the audio-only version on Thursdays. All you got to do is go to s2sgrantandterry.com. All right, we have a couple questions for next week's show, but I would love to get a couple more questions for Coach Carney, because with him not having a game next week, we're only going to be talking one game. That's usually really short, and so I would like to add that with having a couple more questions. So email me, Terry at s2ssport.com. That's Terry at s2ssport.com, and just put in the attention in the headline, Muenster Coaches Show question, and ask the question, and then we'll play it, or we'll read it next week to Coach Carney. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Enjoy your week off of football, or if you're going to any games, please be safe in your travels. And let's meet back here next week to talk about the Muenster Hornets right here on the Muenster Football Show on S2S, part of L4 Media.